That time a giant cargo ship will be used to transport the batch of goods worth billions, including food for import and export, as well as various daily necessities. Just the mineral water alone is said to weigh several hundred tons in several dozen containers. I must secure this batch of goods. Lon was full of confidence, as this batch of goods seemed to be prepared for his space, storing them in his space as post-apocalyptic goods. Couldn't be better. This large batch of goods will be transported to the beautiful country before the apocalypse arrives, and will save countless people in the beautiful country during the apocalypse. So Lewin had no psychological burden picking them up, and even felt quite pleased. The life and death of the people in the beautiful country had nothing to do with him. He even wished more of them would die. Coincidentally, the eruption of sunspots on the day before the apocalypse will cause all electronic devices worldwide to malfunction for a whole day. Lewin pondered. Even satellites in the sky would be paralyzed. It was a perfect opportunity for him to quietly move thousands of tons of goods from the dock without anyone noticing. Of course, the Walmart super warehouse in the suburbs couldn't be left out. Oh, isn't this Lewin? Suddenly an affected voice interrupted his thoughts. Lewin frowned and found that the other party was none other than suing the green tea girl who had killed him with her trust in her previous life. Not only did she cause his death and let those evil neighbors, and she even wanted to cut his flesh and make soup instantly. An uncontrollable killing intent surged in his heart. I really want to kill this disgusting person right now. Luo Chan's eyes were cold. Lewin, you are so scary, Su Ling said pitifully. In the past, if Luo Chen had used this attitude towards her, Su Ling would have probably lost her temper long ago, but things were different now because she seemed to have discovered that the always flattering Lewin was actually a hidden second-generation rich kid. Otherwise, how could he afford to eat at this hotel? You should know that many diplomats usually dine there, and this high and luxurious place is exclusively for the upper class. What's up? Lewin suppressed the killing and intent in his heart and said indifferently, it wasn't the right time, yet it would be too easy for the other party to die before the apocalypse. Suing must experience the cruelty of the extreme cold apocalypse and die in despair, coldness, and helplessness. Anyway, he had a storage space on him, and he had enough time to prepare. By then, he could build a sturdy shelter, store unlimited supplies in the space, and do whatever he wanted to retaliate against her. Hearing his question, Suing immediately put aside her discomfort. She didn't care about the sudden cold attitude of the other party. Instead, she suddenly discovered that Lon was a local tyrant. So Suing excitedly thought about how to make him willingly spend money on her. Everything else was not important. Lon, I just saw you eating in there. Suing pointed to the luxurious entrance of the hotel, looking at him expectantly with a hint of enthusiasm in her tone. That look was as if she had found a suitable victim. Luan looked coldly at Su Ling's expectant gaze, not wanting to deal with her at all. So what if she found out that he spent 100,000 yuan on a state banquet at a state banquet hotel and wanted his money? He dream on. Don't expect to get a penny from me again, Lon. I've been waiting for you outside for half a day. My legs are tired from standing. Shouldn't you be more of a gentleman and invite me for a cup of milk tea? Suing pouted and complained. She deliberately showed off her fair legs, gently pressing them with her hands as if trying to seduce him with her beauty. First have some milk tea, then go shopping, and in the evening we can go for a luxurious dinner. Although Suing was complaining on the surface, her heart was already blooming with joy. Today, if she doesn't spend 100,000 yuan on herself, she won't be allowed to leave. But what she didn't know was that the current Lon was no longer the lapdog he used to be towards the green tea in front of him. Lon only felt disgusted. Suing had always told him that she had never been in a relationship, but Lon only found out before his death that Suing had changed boyfriends countless times. A certain rich second generation who barged into the room mocked her in person, saying that Suing had been an escort in their circle, willing to spend the night for just a few $1,000. What was a cheap public bust to others was portrayed as a pure and innocent white lotus by herself. It's truly disgusting. I'm busy recently and can't make it. I'll treat you next time. Lon refused, but he didn't mind leaving her with some thoughts. After all, it was absolutely impossible for him to be treated as an ATM. Okay, next time then. When Su Ling heard his agreement, she was so excited that she almost jumped. Pet up. Her mind started to fantasize about them going crazy shopping in a big mall, and then enjoying the exquisite dishes at a 5-star hotel. Feeling satisfied, However, the happy Suing had no idea that the extreme cold apocalypse would arrive a month later. Would they still be carefree? Then whether one could survive was a question in itself. After speaking, Lewin was no longer in the mood to deal with Suing and went straight to a nearby large supermarket. Arriving at the supermarket, Lewin pushed a shopping cart with a smile on his face, saying, "Without stocking up on food first, my heart won't be at ease soon." He began hoarding the first wave of supplies: 95 compressed biscuits. Let's start with 10 boxes, canned meat, sausages. Fill up half the shopping cart. Instant self-heating hot pot noodles, a bunch of them. Pack them into the cart fiercely. Soon a shopping cart was filled to the brim, but he was not satisfied. Them deliver the goods directly to a underground warehouse in his residential area. When it came time to pay, facing a bill of over 10,000 yuan, Lon readily paid. In the apocalypse, the prices of these foods would at least increase a hundredfold, and even with money they might not be available. It could easily trigger a large-scale life and death struggle. At the manager's enthusiastic invitation, Lon also took a ride on the supermarket's shuttle bus and headed home. It was a good opportunity to further understand his spatial abilities. Back in the residential area, he met many homeowners on the way. Many of them couldn't help but show a surprised expression. Luan ignored them and was not worried about the news of storing goods in his home getting out before the apocalypse arrived. His safe house had already been set up, and as long as he didn't open the door voluntarily, no one could come in. Thinking back to the previous life, the scene of those people breaking into the house and hacking at him with an axe filled Luo Chan's heart with deep hatred. If they dared to come to him this time, it would also facilitate his revenge plan. Okay, he put the stuff here. Lon opened his own warehouse. The employees were quick and nimble because Lon bought a lot of goods, so this trip to the supermarket would give them a lot of commission. Wow, isn't this when you bought a lot of things at this time? An old lady with her hands behind her back walked over. Looking at the warehouse full of snacks, couldn't help but have the idea of taking advantage of it. Lon turned his head and saw that it was Wang Mama from the neighborhood committee. This Wang Chang is usually very annoying, not only loves to meddle in other people's business, but also takes advantage of small benefits. Relying on a little power on her body, she often teaches others what to do. It seems like she is not from the neighborhood committee, but from the municipal committee. After the apocalypse, she relied on selling pitiful stories to cheat a lot of food from Luan, and when everyone broke in, she didn't even think about Lon helping her, but cheered on behind everyone. Hey, this lady, please don't touch other people's things. A supermarket employee, while moving things, found that Wang Im had secretly taken a large bag of food from the car. This bag of snacks is quite expensive, at least over a 10,000 you. On what stealing? I'm borrowing. Do you understand? Wang Mama, seeing herself being discovered, got angry and started making a scene on the spot. Oh, young people nowadays don't know how to respect the elderly. At all, I have difficulty walking and there's nothing to eat at home. What's wrong with borrowing some food in case of emergency? I can pay for it. Do you want to let an old person like me starve to death? Indeed, being from the neighborhood committee, she is really good at causing trouble. She immediately portrayed herself as a disadvantaged group, standing on the moral high ground to criticize them. The young employees had never seen such a situation before and were directly confused by the old lady. Scared to step back several steps, afraid that she might fall to the ground and they would lose a year's salary. Put the things down. Lon was annoyed by her buzzing, walked over and directly snatched the bag of snacks from her. He didn't care about her wailing, all right. Seeing that her pitiful act was useless, Wang Mama stopped pretending and threatened Lon, pay attention to me. Don't let anything fall into my hands. In the future, she was full of anger. She is from the neighborhood committee, and since you live in the community, you will definitely need the help of the neighborhood committee in the future. By then, she must make things difficult for you and make your life miserable. If you don't leave, I will report you for theft. Lon threatened coldly. He had a basis for saying this, as there were several cameras around the warehouse and Wine Mama's little actions just now were definitely caught on camera. When the police come, although they may not be able to arrest and convict her, a severe criticism and education session cannot be avoided for Wine Mama, who usually likes to boss people around in the community. This would undoubtedly be very embarrassing, and she might be ridiculed for a long time. Yu Wang Mama was indeed scared, looked up at the camera on the wall, cursed, and left. Lon ignored her. In the previous life, he had given her a lot of food to help her through a difficult time. Without his help this time, Wang Mama probably wouldn't last long in the apocalypse. There was no need to argue with a dying person, with no one causing trouble. The goods were quickly moved after sending off the supermarket employees. When closed the warehouse door, and began to experiment with his personal space. After a while, he gained a lot. The space was indeed infinite, and storing and retrieving items was very convenient. He could even directly put a whole row of shelves filled with food into the space. The most important thing he discovered was that time inside the space was constant. He could put in tons of fresh vegetables and fruits without worrying about the shelf life. Perhaps I can pre-order some barbecue hamburgers and banquet, put them all in the space, so that after the apocalypse I can eat ready-made hot meals every day. Lon clapped his hands, giving himself a thumbs up for his brilliant idea. Unfortunately, living creatures cannot be stored in the space. However, with the current unlimited space and powerful item storage and retrieval function, Lewin was already very satisfied. As long as there were enough supplies stored, he was confident that he could live 1,000 times more comfortably than others after the apocalypse. After storing all the goods purchased from the supermarket into the space, Lon left here and went home. While waiting for the elevator, he coincidentally met Luro. Luro might have just finished work. At this time, she was wearing a tight skirt with two slender legs wrapped in black stockings underneath. The black high heels made her figure look tall and slender at this moment, probably because the morning incident was too embarrassing. The other party didn't dare to look at him at all, and as soon as they entered the elevator, she hid in the corner with her head down. But with so many people, the elevator was quickly crowded. As a result, Luro inevitably got pushed in front of Lon, her chest tightly pressed against him. What a coincidence! Lon couldn't help but raise an eyebrow at the same time. He really wanted to say, testing catter like this, don't move. Luro blushed and warned him softly, because there were too many people in the elevator. She couldn't move now, and she could even look at Lon with wide eyes by lifting her head a little. In fact, after getting married for a while, Elro's husband had some health issues. Now being so close to Lewin, she was obviously very uncomfortable watching the embarrassed look of the married woman and her efforts to maintain her composure. Luo Chin just smiled faintly. When the apocalypse comes, Luro family will soon face a shortage of food. By then, Yulin will have to send his wife to Luo Chin's house to ask for food. In the previous life, successfully borrowed a lot of food, and this time a smile appeared on Lon's lips. Back home, Lon was a little tired. However, he didn't rest immediately, but started thinking about his preparations for the past month. The first issue was food. This was easily solved these days. He could order a batch of goods from the night market or hotels. The night before the apocalypse, when the sunspots erupted, would be the perfect time to act. China City was adjacent to a huge dock with countless goods entering and leaving the country every day, and containers piled up like mountains. In addition to the dock, there was also a large Walmart warehouse. Taking advantage of the cover of night, he could store all their goods in the space. With